Alright guys, let's see how we go with this. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a little look today at weather. And we're going to call this Don't Blame It on the Weatherman. So it's going to be our unit on weather. So what I'd like us to start thinking about is weather forecasting, because as Irish people we speak about the weather the whole time. Before coronavirus came along, it probably was the top topic of conversation. So in terms of where we get our weather information from, Met Éireann is the Irish weather forecasting service, the Irish Meteorological Service. They take readings, they work with other European weather services and put all of those readings together so that they can give us a weather forecast every day, several times a day, and they try to be as accurate as they can. YR is a Norwegian weather app, and they can be quite good, quite accurate. We have World Weather Online, another weather forecasting and information website. AccuWeather, a lot of you might use that, or your parents might use it if you're going on holidays anywhere. Okay, so what weather forecasts look like? So this is what your weather forecast on Met Éireann looks like on a typical day. So you can see now this evening it'll be partly cloudy. The temperature here is going to be 10 degrees Celsius and there is wind of about 11 knots. And you can see how the wind is changing throughout each of these, and by Sunday and Saturday this weekend we should be expecting a little bit of rain. Now if we wanted to look a little bit more detailed at what's happening with today's weather, we have cloud coming in and leaving again around 7 o'clock, and you can have a look this evening, see if cloud did go, and you can see that the breeze was stronger in the morning and is getting weaker throughout the day, and the temperature, as you would expect, will be higher in the middle of the day, and then as the sun goes down the temperature is going to dip. So have a little think about what kind of instruments you would use to take these readings, and we will come back and have a look at this again probably after Easter. So this is what your weather forecast might look like on one website where they're saying there's intermittent clouds. This is looking at today, it's an hourly forecast and it's quite detailed. This is a daily forecast, so we have our current weather, the weather for today, tonight and tomorrow. And then we have a general forecast going into the next week. And this one is saying that we won't have rain until Sunday, whereas the one we were just looking at was saying Saturday. So it depends on the forecasters and what their interpretation of the data is. Now, in Ireland, these photographs will be a little bit familiar as to what kind of weather we get. So we have one here, which is stormy, so high winds, blowing waves, and becoming quite familiar. We have a river which has dried up because of drought. This was from a few summers ago. We have this one, a beautiful photo full of sunshine out at Bantry House. A very, very familiar sight to most of you, rain. It's our national weather. And without the rain you wouldn't have rainbows. And then occasionally sun. But all of this is weather, which leads us into weather versus climate. So weather is the state of the atmosphere at a given time and place, whereas climate is the average weather at a particular place over a long period of time. So weather is what way the atmosphere is behaving now or next week or on Tuesday the 10th of March 2025 at 11 a.m. Climate is over a long period of time, the average weather. So weather and climate are not the same things. Now, the atmosphere is the layer of gases that surrounds the Earth, and it's really, really important. Without the atmosphere, we wouldn't be able to live here. So it insulates the Earth from extreme temperatures. So space is very, very cold, so it keeps away the cold of space, and it also protects us from dangerous rays from the sun and from extreme heat. Now, what the atmosphere is made of is mostly nitrogen. Nitrogen is important for growing things. It can be used as a fertilizer. Oxygen, it's what we need for breathing. It's what keeps us alive. And then trace gases, which is the rest of the gases, your carbon dioxide, your carbon monoxide, all of the other gases are there in that trace gases, that 1%. So nitrogen and oxygen make up 99% of the atmosphere. And there's 2 layers of the atmosphere that you just have to be aware of. So the most important one, the one where we live, is the troposphere. And there are several layers within the atmosphere, but the troposphere is the lowest layer, and it is from ground or water level up to about 17 kilometers in height from ground level. So weather and clouds happen in the troposphere, pretty much all of the weather and most of the clouds. And as you go up through the troposphere and through the atmosphere, it gets colder. So the higher the altitude, the lower the temperature. Temperature decreases as you go upwards. So the troposphere reaches from ground level or water level up to about 17 kilometers. Now, the next layer of the atmosphere that you need to know about is the stratosphere. So the stratosphere extends from 17 kilometers to 50 kilometers from the surface of the Earth, and it's not a place where we would be able to live without breathing apparatus. The ozone layer is part of the stratosphere, and some of the highest clouds are found in the lowest parts of the stratosphere, but there's very little weather happening up there. So here you can see the lowest part above the mountains, above volcanoes, and where the plains are and where all the weather is the troposphere. The next layer is the stratosphere, and within that we have the very, very important layer of the ozone layer. Now, the last bit that I want to do with you today is about the sun and solar energy. So you know already from studying energy that the energy from the sun is called solar energy. And solar energy is the Earth's main source of energy, so it's the most important thing that we have, solar energy. The energy from the sun travels through space, and it arrives to us as solar radiation. It is transmitted as light and heat. And it directly and indirectly provides us with almost all of our energy. So what do I mean by that? Well, directly we get our light energy and our heat energy from the sun, and then indirectly those allow plants to grow, which gives us timber, which we burn for energy. It allowed plants to grow millions of years ago, which broke down and got trapped in layers of sedimentary rock to give us oil and gas and all of those things that we burn for energy. So This is really, really important. Without solar energy, there wouldn't be life on Earth. Without the atmosphere to protect us from the radiation of the sun, there also wouldn't be life on Earth. So all of these things work together. We can see from this diagram that with our solar energy, that 51% of it is absorbed by the Earth and heats the Earth. 19% is absorbed by clouds, and the other 30% of solar energy is reflected by the clouds back out into space.